when this particular bill was being steamrolled by the majority leader. I think this is from Kimani Ichung'wah, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. We have it being challenged by the Senate because it is duplicitous of other clauses that we have in the acts at the end of the day. So what is the rhyme and reason of him coming up with the conflict of interest with all this melange of other acts being, steamrolled into this particular one bill? And as I said, I agree totally. We have so many laws, right? Heading now to 10 in an effort to fight and stanch the flow of corruption in this country. Do we need this bill? Or is this just another waste of time and nothing will discernibly be different with this conflict of interest bill in the first place?
What is happening here is what is happening in the whole country. People speak the same thing, but don't solve the problem. Actually, the president's concerns, actually, when they were passed in the House, actually I came late and they had been passed. One thing is actually people don't take a lot of time to look at bills in those. Let me say in the National Assembly. I think it's the same in the Senate.
But Kimani Ichung'wah should have known better.
I see, because I see late in the day there are very few people. So when you brought this thing, I said, okay, let me go look at the president reservations. So actually, after we talked and I looked at it and I have a copy of it here, the president reservations are more or less what was in the original bill.
Exactly.
Correct.
To a large extent.
Correct.
But there is also something that is also true, that the original bill was deleting a lot of other bills. So the question that the Senator is also asking is genuine. Why do you delete this bill to just take it somewhere else? So what I'm waiting for, I don't want to get too deep in this because I missed this final point when it was brought, is I'm going to look for the vellum. So what will really, at least will guide me, is I have the original bill. I want to see the vellum because when it comes to mediation, and my colleagues will agree with me, sometimes after mediation, when it comes, the truth again, people sometimes say, people agree with the bill even before it comes. And when it comes to the president's reservations, it's a very tough thing because if you want to overturn the president's reservations, you must have at least 233 people in the House to start with. I don't think there were 232 people when this thing was passed. So it's assumed that if you don't have that and you start it, you are almost certain that that bill will pass or it will not discuss. What one would have said is that we don't have 133, it's actually 233. Let's not even start this because one requirement is that if you want to drop it, you must have 233. Now, if you go ahead and discuss it and you have, say, 60 people, your assumption is that either you will stop it midway or it will pass. Many times it passes. So I think that's where the problem is. What I can see from here, my colleagues are right in two ways. One, the vellum is not different. The reservations is not very different from what was in the bill. What I'm waiting for, and I'll do it tomorrow just out of interest, is to look at the vellum. I think I'll get a copy of the vellum. Then we will now see. His point may be that the Senate changes drastically. But if what the Senate changed is just that they didn't see why you are deleting this, so then they removed this. Then again, they also have a point that the law is somewhere. Why are you removing it there and bring it here? So what really we are discussing amongst ourselves here comes back to us. How diligent are we in the House?
In scrutinizing some of it.
In scrutinizing, yes. So that if something actually is already existing, why do you want to put it in another law? But being late, let me not say too much, but let me just say one last thing. Laws don't change people.
Excellent.
Laws only punish people. And we also know that punishment does not work. Let me just ask you, Deban. I always ask this. Even in my grandfather's time, even in my father's time as a young person, in my grandfather's time, we didn't have jails, we didn't have policemen, we didn't have courts, and people lived relatively peacefully. Now, we have courts, we have policemen, we have stacks of laws. If you go to the senator's office as a lawyer, there are all these things are there. But people, it's like another thing I'm asking people when they come to me for Harambee for churches. I can count 15 churches around my home, and I ask them, but we are doing these churches, but people seem not to be changing because we are looking at the wrong thing. What is our ethos? What do we believe as a society? What do we want to do? These ones just help.
Yeah.
So on this particular one, and I think even when this law was passed, again, this law was passed at a critical time, and I think there were 3 laws that were passed one afternoon.
Anti-money
I think anti-money laundering and this one. I remember asking Honorable TJ Ajua, we sat with him and asked him, you guys, you passed 3 laws yesterday. So he said, well, they all passed. So our diligence is the big issue. And then what it has done, you know, the president reservations, in my view, the lawyers are here, they can correct me. It's not that the president makes a law and comes with the proposal of an amendment. The president is to express his or her concern that this law does not address this. It then goes to Parliament. Parliament now must rephrase, amend to take care of the president's consideration. But what has now happened, the president really now legislates. So you see, if you see clause 2, well, he was defining the family. So he was, then you go to clause 5, he was reminding us that if you give one job for 2 authorities, it's not likely to happen because you are giving to TACC, but you are also giving it to a reporting authority. It will not work. If you go to the other one, the president is adding functions of the commission. Now the commission was defined here as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Again, for me, what one would say, it's really expanding the commission or repeating. And again, so these are legislations. So